Hi everyone, welcome. Here with Tomasz, who I think needs no introductions. Long-term Ethereum builder, founder of Nethermind, and now co-executive director with Xiaowei as well. So welcome, Tomasz.
Hi,
Um,
hi everyone, welcome.
yeah.
I'm
Uh,
Declan.
and yeah, hi
Linear.
everyone. I'm Declan. I lead the Linear team as part of Consensus as well. So Tomasz, I'm kind of curious to understand. You and Xiaowei, you've been steering the foundation now for a few months, but I'm actually curious, and I think a lot of people are like, from the inside, what's it like? Like what changes have you made? What decisions and processes have you changed? And like, how are like people in the community and ETH holders are already experiencing this? Yeah.
Sure. We focused on a few directions for the protocol, scale at once, scale blobs, and improve interop and UX. That's at least the super important things for the protocol, for Ethereum. Now we think that important changes would be related to what happens next, to the future of building on Ethereum, to bringing new Vlads, to bringing new builders. Also for the space of AI exploration, DeSci will start to be creative with physical spaces. Will be creative with going to the new generation of builders, building ecosystem development team further. Apart from it, there were a few very important initiatives. The security part, so $1 trillion security. When with Ethereum, we're reaching out to institutions, to retail users, so to developers, and asking them about what are the risks, what can go wrong, and how we make Ethereum even more secure. There was also treasury policy introduction, which approaches those questions about what Ethereum does with its treasury, with ETH, how does it sell ETH, how does it support DeFi ecosystem, and a few more things. But these were the main areas. All of this was after hundreds of conversations with people, going to events, listening different vibes, feeling how the community builds. I think it all matters.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw you put your Calendly out and had anyone come and set up a meeting, and I thought that was absolutely great. So you mentioned the treasury policy, which I found super interesting. I saw the blog post that was released about a month ago. I think you said we're going to keep 2.5 years of runway at the EF and actually look to put the foundation's ETH into, is it DeFi sort of punk protocols, right? Like maybe walk us through the playbook. Like what does that look like? How are you sort of deciding how much to put in, and what are the sort of like parameters and transparency that the community can expect to kind of see on this?
Sure. So we're planning to split the existing Ethereum Foundation ETH treasury. So ETH is like around 80% to 90% of the current treasury. Some of it will have to convert to fiat, but then from the remaining parts, we'll try to show that we pay attention to the DeFi ecosystem and that we also opinionate it with the attention to the values of Ethereum. So if you're thinking about the privacy, security, censorship resistance, we will try to answer a question of what does it mean for DeFi protocols. So Xiaowei, Vitalik, they called it DeFi punk. It makes sense. Just looking at DeFi, thinking where DeFi took shortcuts or how we can guide DeFi to do better. And this will be significant amount. So we'll do solo, like home staking at Ethereum Foundation. We'll assign some of the ETH to our own validators, but we'll also allocate the rest to DeFi protocols, just as the LP positions or borrowing, lending. And this will be based on the criteria where we invite all the DeFi protocols to submit information about how well they execute that self-custody, the privacy of operations, no KYC, permissionless solutions, how they care about all of these important things that we think that if we don't do that, not at Ethereum Foundation, that you will not see such a significant push from any of the liquidity providers. This will be $200-300 million in ETH that will be targeting protocols that do something beyond what you would expect, do something for the users with the care of the fundamental blockchain values.
Nice. And like, how do you decide like which protocols to use? Because I think previously one of the things was always like the EF has to maintain this sort of credible neutrality, and I always felt like as a community member, like in the ecosystem, it felt a little bit dangerous sometimes to almost like king make if the EF chooses one like lending protocol over another. So like, how are you thinking to like balance that now?
Oh, So the Ethereum by itself has to be credibly neutral as a chain. Ethereum Foundation can have opinions, and
Yep.
actually that guidance, the opinionated stance of the Ethereum Foundation, is what helps people in the ecosystem to steer the entire network in the right direction, or like the direction that we believe is important, because we know why Ethereum got started, why it got traction at the beginning, what people that are less vocal in social media think is important. And, there's lots of those quiet supporters behind the scenes in the stealth mode that consistently do a lot for the chain. They arrange events, make things happen. They animate a bit of more of this behind the scene community that makes Ethereum so resilient. And without that, it would be bad. And Foundation has to show that we understand those values, that we promote those. How do we do that? We will accept the submissions. We'll have some parameters to judge all of these protocols, but we'll still will allow ourselves to some discretion on selecting protocols. So there'll be some quantitative aspect of, okay, how safe this protocol is. Was it audited? Does it satisfy 0-1? Some of these properties that you mentioned. But even when you think about privacy, it's not really 0-1. There are some aspects of privacy. Is it privacy of balances? Is it privacy of transactions? Is it just anonymity and no KYC? All of this is a spectrum. So we look at this, and then we will feel maybe from the conversations with founders how much we can tell to the ecosystem that it's the protocol that we think more or less is worth trusting. And this will be good because with this guidance, it might be that the other LPs will allocate together with us, so we can have a bit of a multiplier leverage on everything that we'll do.
Yep. You mentioned a bit there on privacy, which is, kind of come full circle. I spent a lot of time working with enterprises a few years ago on the private permission chains. It now feels like they're ready to come and anchor into sort of Ethereum as like an L2. So we know that institutions want confidentiality, regulators want some sort of like audit trail. And obviously users just want a wallet that works for them. So I'm kind of curious, like, how do you like see or draw the line on privacy? Like, is it going to be something that we look to enshrine in the EVM, on the L1, or do rollups need to specialize? You mentioned KYC. Like, yeah, can you tell us a bit more how you kind of see that playing out?
So for the retail world, we would love to see that there is absolutely permissionless, no KYC, own your assets, fully private solution. And the most vocal privacy supporters would say this has to be by default, that if you don't do it by default, then it's just too easy to fall into that trap of too small domain within which you're trying to mix all the operations. As for institutions, their usual regulators will always require KYC, KYB processes. Banks will be very strict. However, after the process is approved and the institution deploys assets on chain, you would like to allow them to also have the full privacy of balances and transactions. So, where is the line? I think there is no line. It would just be pushing for all the important aspects of privacy to happen, and we understand that every single wallet, every single solution will choose the subset of these properties that they feel most comfortable to implement, or also that they understand their users will benefit the most from. I think being overwhelmingly chasing them for you have to do everything or we just don't accept you would be counterproductive. We want to show the direction. We'll probably build some solutions like Kohaku Wallet, some standards for enterprises. We have PSC now that is re-steering a bit towards the application privacy. PSC is a team at Ethereum Foundation, which is around 50 people that were focused on privacy and scaling via ZK. Now they're looking specifically for privacy for applications for the end user. Sometimes they'll be communicating with the protocol team, but much of their work will be on privacy of the app layer. So all of those efforts hopefully will just move the needle in the right direction.
Got it. And so I kind of want to touch base on the roll-up-centric roadmap. Like 5 years ago, we kind of set off on this vision to scale Ethereum through layer 2s. At Consensus, we sort of joined that mission and bootstrapped Linear, Consensus, EKVM. sort of been a bit of a sort of shift back to scaling the L1. I think you put out a post to get to, I think, 100 million gas blocks. I think, Justin the other day in Berlin was saying we can get to 1 gigagas per second blocks, and now we're talking about single digit slot times. So, like, how do we sort of see the future of like L2 and L1? And is there sort of like, how do we stop the L1 maybe eating a little bit the roll-ups lunch? What is the new kind of social contract? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. I'm super excited about what's happening in the L2's ecosystem now. So you look at all the big announcements. Linea is accelerating a lot. Now I think lots of exciting announcements are coming on your side. We see Starknet experimenting with Bitcoin. We see WorldCoin doing like massive progress with the novel identity solutions, global identity that Vitalik was also arguing about recently, which is worth to look at that conversation. We see Arbitrum and Robinhood, massive win for the adoption. Probably crypto will reach to so many more users for this. Then we see Base onboarding, stable coins, e-commerce solutions, so doing a lot for US market. We see even the space slightly on the side of the L2, so Polygon ecosystem, Katana, all the investments in ZKVMs by different teams. So you see Succinct, Jolt, Boundless, you see from Zero Solutions, Zisk recently. All of this is because of the decision that L2s is the way to help some institutions to feel a bit more comfortable where they can control the L2, but still be very close to L1. So it just brings everyone closer. It's the opportunity for innovation customization for many L2s. It's the opportunity for branding. And there's lots of aspect of fashion, right? So we have Ethereum, people are excited, and after a few projects, they'll feel maybe I would like to try something new. So on one side, you can think, all the L2s are splintering the branding, but you can also think that they bring this novelty and following the fashion and experimentation that's super cool on Ethereum. So we have a bit of DeFi Lego, we have a bit of L2s Lego. This is also the challenge of Interop. As for scaling, you were asking about scaling the 100 million gas. This is to build confidence that L1 will continue scaling. But not to try to bring back activity or like to take away activity from L2s. L2s will have shorter block times, will have much larger gas limits for sure. But we think that if we don't go far enough, then L2s will start seeing L1 as a bottleneck. And I wanted to make this a very strong commitment. L1 will not be bottleneck. It will continue growing, but we'll not forget about decentralization, which means that with the block times, sure, we experimented, we asked questions like what with 1 second, and then pretty quickly we realized, oh no, 1 second would really put decentralization at risk. So now we think, what about 4 seconds, 6 seconds? So 6 seconds is proposal for Amsterdam, maybe as one of the headliners to choose from. All core dev channel will be choosing which direction is safe. Is it the right approach? But we also exploring 4 seconds of thing, okay, we know what changes we can introduce to protocol to go in that direction. And it seems between 2 and 4 seconds nowadays, with the latencies that we see, with the limitations of the topology of the global network, you could have the centralized system that will still be plural with the southern hemisphere implemented before the infrastructure keeps improving with fiber everywhere. So a lot to do there. I definitely think that L2's roadmap was a massive success. There's a big question of the alignment of the fees, but this is absolutely solvable. And now we want to focus on growth. We want to make sure that L2s are celebrating what we only see since September last year, unlike maybe June last year. Now we forgot that the fees were not so low, right? Like we paying fractions of a cent to send a transaction on L2s. It's a massive success, and trying to represent it as a failure would be really disappointing. So I say very clearly, no, this is a success. We have so many new novel solutions thanks to that. We'll see stable coins are seeing adoption also because of that, because people know that they will be able to use L2s at a fraction of a cent, make those transactions cheaper than with the traditional card systems. That's why we're expecting trillions of dollars to flow to Ethereum with stable coins. So this will be a multiplier on the TVL.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been quite excited because, even at Linear, we focused on building a ZK EVM. So to kind of see this performance improvements at the L1 is very much so we can take those to the L2 and vice versa. So it kind of scales on both dimensions. And I think it's definitely the right approach. What one sort of, not necessarily on the protocol side, but more on the sort of marketing and BD when it comes to outreach, like Consensus, we do a lot of outreach, especially to institutions, especially in the US, to regulators. Sometimes we find ourselves in rooms where there's not always someone from Ethereum representing like, Ethereum and the L2s in a cohesive manner. So like, how do we go about trying to consolidate that efforts without, while still recognizing that there is going to be some healthy competition, especially amongst, L2s who might have slightly different incentives?
Yeah, so on marketing side, I think that's clearly mostly visible for the L2s and the institutions like Consensus, like Etherealize, and others around the globe. There's lots of builders in Asia, here in Europe. Look, FCC and the whole events space here, it's a massive marketing celebration, PR event that is absolutely not coordinated by the foundation as independent, but it's a massive success. And this really improves the branding and builds the memories and creates the opportunities for networking, create businesses. I'm pretty sure lots of businesses started this week, and we'll see them landing on L1, on L2s, maybe some new L2s appear. And on the BD side, from the foundation side, this is James Smith now leading the new structure of the ecosystem development, focusing on founder acceleration, on that story from the moment when you get interested in Ethereum, either as a founder or as an institution, and then you start hacking, experimenting, maybe you go hackathon, you start building, you found a company or project, then you get funding for this, then you launch it, and finally you just find the users, customers, and start generating revenue. On every single step, we want to make sure that it happens faster. And it happens faster because we start mentoring, because we connect people with the funding sources, because bringing them to the interesting physical spaces where they learn from each other. So it's acceleration and also increasing the numbers, right? So increasing the numbers will be aspect of reaching out to everyone who does marketing in this space and telling them, this is what we see. We would like to improve it quarter on quarter. Help us to improve those numbers. The goals are clear. Like we would like more people to come to hackathons. We would like more people to download these libraries, more people to launch projects in the DeFi ecosystem on any of the L2s. And by collaborations with the L2s, by having people in the foundation that will be representing L1 as a platform for L2s, DeFi communication, enterprise outreach. And very often it's not really an outreach, it's more as processing inbound. People reach out to us with lots of questions. There are hundreds of messages. It's impossible to process it by myself, but we'll have a team that will help to answer questions, redirect people to right mentors, to researchers, to engineers that will answer questions on security, on roadmap, on the current problems, on the other players in the ecosystems that can join and build something with you.
Yep. And like, I'm curious from your perspective, like what is the sort of the marketing pitch now? Like, is it world computer? Like, are we talking like settlement layers, data availability layers? Like, how are you sort of thinking about like a cohesive message and like almost North Star as well? Are we looking at like L1 revenues, like blob space used? Yeah.
I know that people very often don't like it. It's a bit of all of this. The world computer is like the AI enhanced world computer is now probably what is closest to what we're building deliberately. But there are so many other ways of looking at Ethereum. So the plurality describing Ethereum as look, now people started saying, oh wow, this is like stable coins chain. All the stable coins flow to Ethereum will have this massive inflow of the USD or local stable coins. You see Etherealize publishing this digital oil narrative and report talking about how they see it. And they say, oh, we called it digital oil, but it's something beyond that. So read the whole report to understand the other aspects of it. So I think that I started talking about this autonomous world in the future, the automated machines and the full open source of the entire world, and everything being coordinated by Ethereum. We talk also about the novelties of the AI governance. So global economy as all of all of the world's real world assets, all of the world transactions, all of the world's attention flowing to Ethereum. And now I consistently, indeed, find it challenging to say one thing, but we definitely don't have a problem to find that one thing that matters to particular audience, right? So here I feel we have people that are going a bit more broadly, go a bit about AI and launching new projects. So I say, look, this is the space of exploration in Ethereum where we do a lot of things. When you go to institutions that care about stablecoins, we focus on that and we show them this is why we're winning stablecoins. These are the numbers, these are the charts, and we focus only on that thing. And everyone in Ethereum should understand what audience they are talking about and what is relevant, and never go beyond that conversation.
Brilliant. And then last question, Tomasz. So I'm kind of curious, like, what's one commitment, whether technical, cultural, that, like, you're willing to be judged on from like a year from now? And maybe how can the community, people in the room, actually help you like immediately try and achieve that mission? Yeah.
Well, I don't like to choose one thing. I want to win on all the different aspects and be judged that is it everything? Like, so every single failure should be pointed out, and the earlier the better, so we can start fixing it. I keep asking people for very harsh feedback as fast as possible. I don't want to wait 2 years until I finalize my term and then people started summarizing and I say this worked, this didn't work. I'd rather get that feedback very clearly, very early, and decide what we have to address. Commitments, we have lots of those. We want to make sure that the BD function and the foundation works great. We want to make sure that we keep delivering the network upgrades on time. Fusaka, Amsterdam. We want to scale it 1. We want to scale it 2 and keep all 2s extremely satisfied with the platform that they chose. They said, okay, like a few years ago when we went on that journey, we made a really, really right choice. All of this matters. We want to bring stable coins, all the stable coins in the world on chain. We want to create those spaces for people to meet and explore, and for thought leaders to connect with the students that are still totally lost and don't know what to build. Every single thing matters, and every single thing has to happen in parallel, ideally. I don't want to serialize the goals. Sometimes I would say, we finished this one, now we're focusing a bit more. But really, those things go in parallel, just maybe a bit of attention changes.
Well, I just want to say I think you're doing a fantastic job, and I'm really excited. I think the last sort of 6 months has been a real nice urgency in the community of Ethereum, and I think we're all starting to see that come into fruition, and I'm pretty excited about the next 6 months as well. So can everyone give a round of applause for Tomasz, please? And yeah, thank you very much.
And for Declan.
Yeah.